Hey there, it's Jeremy from SaxTuition. In this video, I'm going to be troubleshooting the most common mistakes beginners run into right after their first saxophone lesson. Now, obviously, if you've just started the saxophone, this video is going to be a must watch. And just so you know, the clips from this video actually come from lesson 2 of the SaxTuition Beginner series. You can check out the entire course in the description below or just by heading to saxtuition.com. Alternatively, if you want to watch lesson 1, you can do that at any time just by following the link right up in the top corner of the screen. Well, that's my plug out of the way, so let's get into it.
So the first problem that we should address, of course, is squeaks. The number one cause of squeaks on the saxophone comes from either squeezing too hard on the mouthpiece or, even worse, putting your teeth on the reed. It can also come from having a really old, dry and chipped reed. So if your reed has turned a dark color or it looks like it's got a split or little pieces missing, it's much better just to throw it away and put a new one on. Now, you don't need to really strain your lip muscles to get a good sound out of the saxophone, and you want to make sure that your bottom lip acts as a cushion to prevent your teeth from touching the reed. Likewise, it's really important not to put any unnecessary force on the reed from the jaw. If you're finding that the sound is really thin or brittle, and it sounds like it's going to squeak, one of the best things you can do is to loosen some of that pressure from the jaw and just drop it slightly. The second thing we're going to do is just look at the sound being too stuffy. So what we want, of course, is a very rich, reverberant sound, and the way we do that is to allow the reed to vibrate as freely as possible. So if we pull the lip too far over our bottom teeth, we've got more surface area of the lip touching the reed, and what it's going to do is stifle the vibrations of the reed, and therefore it's going to stifle our sound. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate. This is rolling the lip too far over. And this would be rolling the lip too far out. So if we just keep it at a natural position and just have it slightly over the bottom teeth, we should have a much nicer sound. So the next thing we're going to look at is the sound being too wild or uncontrolled. So this could be a number of things. You could just simply be forcing too much air in, but it's just as likely that the problem arises from actually pushing the lip too far out, which we just talked about. So the way we combat that, of course, is by following the advice in the previous point and just very slightly rolling the lip back. Another problem some people may be experiencing is what I call weird notes. In other words, you seem to be pressing down the right keys for a G, but it just doesn't sound like a G. So there are two main causes of that occurring. So number one is overblowing, and if you do that, then you're putting too much pressure or blowing too hard in the saxophone, and you're actually getting the note the octave above. Let me just briefly demonstrate that for you. Now, another possible reason for getting some unwanted notes is by leaning on the keys. And the keys that are the most vulnerable for this are these keys on the side here. So this can happen if we put our finger here and rest these too hard on these keys. And then on our left hand palm keys here, if we rest too much on these keys, they can go down. They can actually change the note that we're playing. So the last point that we're going to cover today on our troubleshooting session is if you can't get any sound out at all. So on this one, firstly, we have all the points that I've just mentioned, and I've probably already hammered into you. Too much pressure on the reed, using too much bottom lip, leaning on the keys by accident, having an old chipped reed. But in addition to those things, you may want to make sure that you're using enough air. So there's actually a point before the sound catches where you can just breathe air through the horn without it actually making a sound, like this. So if you just breathe, put a little bit more pressure in beyond that, you'll notice where the sound catches. The last thing to check is that you have no obstructions in the horn, which could include a cleaning cloth or anything else that could find its way into the bell of your saxophone.
So what did you guys think? If these tips helped you, leave me a comment down below, and just remember that you can check out the entire beginner series course over at saxtuition.com or by following the link in the description. Now, another really crucial step when you're just starting the saxophone is finding the perfect amount of mouthpiece to use in your mouth. To help you do that, watch this video here, or if you want to go back and watch lesson 1 of the SaxTuition beginner series and get all the basics down pat, then watch this video over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the SaxTuition YouTube channel for more great saxophone content, and I'll see you all again soon.